Good evening. Trying something new. I don't know if I like it. I don't think my face is this red. But it's Sunday night. We've had a time change. All kinds of stuff going on in the world today. I figured we should have a stream and just kind of chill together. It's Sunday night. You might be ready to go to bed. It's getting close. I mean, East Coast it's 10:46. Here it's 9:46, I think. If my computer automatically updates the time, it does. How are you? How was your day? My day has been interesting. I don't know if I like the new look or not. I need to put one of the lights straight over my head. But I have like you can see right here and you can see over here, you can see I have such shine going. I don't know. I have the little eggshell thing on it. I'm trying, but it's just when you've got such a shiny head, this is what happens. Oh, for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Schenk. I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small residential firm, very, very small. It's just me. And I help buyers buy homes and sellers sell theirs. When I'm not doing that, I have the Deerwood Realty live stream. That's normally on weeknights normally it's between 9 and 9:30, depending on the night. But I've got to do better about putting that notification in there so that people know, like, hey, the thing's coming on at 9, so I need to watch it. That'll help my impressions and everything, I guess. But anyway, I didn't do it tonight. I'm sorry. You know how it is. I showed houses. On the weekends, it's a little dicey. Sometimes I don't feel motivated to do a live stream. Sometimes I feel tired. I want to be left alone. But that doesn't really happen either. I'm usually showing houses. Yesterday was weird. I didn't show houses yesterday. Today I did. But usually I'm working on deals like Sunday night. Sometimes I just can't get to streaming. But usually, weeknights, come hang. I would like to define the community, but really, like, nobody really chats right now. So that's kind of sad. But feel free to put something in the comments. Feel free to watch and enjoy the show as it comes to you. We're streaming tonight on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitter. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on other places soon. We should have been streaming on the website deerwoodrealtyandfriends.com, but I didn't set it up in time because I'm kind of running late. I don't know. I didn't get to it. I apologize. Hopefully you'll forgive me. I need to check one thing on a different screen. I am on Odyssey, but I don't know which one I'm on. So I'm just checking to see which ones, and I don't know if it's doing the streams. So I'm supposed to be doing this. Let's see. Yes, okay, now this will be good. Okay, so it doesn't really do the videos. It doesn't do the live streams on Odyssey on its own, which stinks. It says there's 0 followers. I followed yesterday. Anyway, I'm looking really fat. I did a YouTube short and I look fat and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. But I also just was practicing. I am a little bit plump right now. I need to do. It's on the list of things to do. I need to start walking. I want to get a treadmill. But as you know, like, I've just been, I just go and go and go. Today, I'll tell you about my day. Today was an interesting day because, it's either I'm working in the yard or there's showings, and I can't work in the yard right now because it's cold and it rained last night, so you can't be in the yard. So I have some buyers, and they had a place to be today, so they weren't going to be able to see houses, and so I took it upon myself to solve some issues, to fix some problems. One of which was, did I ever tell you about? I told you about buying thermal paste at micro PC centers. Anyway, a little while back when I was building my computer, I guess I was waiting to build my computer. I got all my parts like on a Friday. Didn't build the computer until like a Monday because I ran out. I didn't have thermal paste, and I didn't want to use the supplied thermal paste. I have a Thermal Assassin, I think. I don't know the name of my CPU cooler anymore. But anyway, I wanted to use a product called Cryonaut or Hydronaut thermal paste. And so I had ordered it from Amazon Business because it's a business expense. I mean, that's exactly why I did it. But I don't have an Amazon Business Prime account. I have a personal Prime account, but not a business one. So it was going to take. They said it was going to take till March 10th, but they started out saying it was going to take till March 5th. They kind of it's kind of shady, the whole thing. But anyway, so I wasn't going to wait around to build a computer just because of thermal paste. I mean, that didn't seem right. Although that was $12 on Amazon. I'm sorry, it was $9.50 on Amazon-ish. And so I went on Monday. I was like, or I guess that was a Tuesday. Forget this. I'm going to the computer store and I'm going to pick up some thermal paste there. I did. And I was like, you know what? I'll just eat the $10 because the longer I go without streaming, the longer I go without, really being able to function as far as, electronically. I mean, this is hurting my business. And so I went and got it and built the computer, as you know, and it's everything I thought it would be and more. It's actually better than I thought it would be. I'm so happy. I kind of want to just never have this happen again because it's embarrassing how bad the situation got. Anyway, the thermal paste comes like, I don't know, Thursday of the week. I'm guessing because today's the 12th and it came on the 10th. So today's Sunday. So yeah, like Thursday, Thursday or Friday. And when I go to open I guess it was yesterday. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember. It must have been Friday I got this stuff. And when I opened the package, the bottom was cut out of the package and there was no thermal paste in it. It was just the bag. So all of a sudden I don't have to pay Amazon $14 or $9 for a product that I didn't even receive. I literally just returned it. I said, I didn't get the product, and I really didn't. I'm not doing something shady by cutting. I mean, if you would have seen it, you would have been surprised. But the one thing, Amazon wanted me to ship the container back, the bag back. So literally there's a bag going across the country with nothing in it so that I could get my refund. So that was one thing I did. I went and had lunch. And then at lunchtime, I got a text from my buyers that were out of town or that had commitments, and they said, hey, our commitments got canceled. Let's go see some houses. I was like, eh. And this is an issue with real estate agents. Your job is to show houses if you're a buyer's agent. Like, don't kid yourself. Like, some buyer wants to go see a house and they're qualified to buy, you show the house. It isn't about like, oh, it's not a good time for me. No, your needs are secondary to what your clients want. Don't forget that. That's one thing. Like and today was one of those days where I had some other things I'd rather do. For instance, I got some washers for my back plate for my triple screen setup that's only got 2 screens. But anyway, I said, sure, let me get home and let me get this stuff worked on. Now, Sundays are a strange day because usually you'll have, or at least in St. Louis, between 1 and 3 and 2 and 4, you'll have open houses. So if you're lucky, you can schedule things for the open houses. The downside of that is if you don't go during the open house, a lot of times they won't let you see the house, around that time because they're preparing the house for an open house. They're getting things ready And I get it. I get it. But anyway, I said, whatever houses we need to see, we'll go look at. So the first house was in Baldwin, and it was a no. It's right off Manchester, and if you've ever seen Manchester at night, like 4 o'clock, between 4 and 6, it's just a junky, horrible place that I don't wish on anyone. So no, that was a no. Then there was a second house in Oakville, and it was a very fascinating situation. That's why I wanted to tell you about it. Is I asked to see this house on Friday, and I was declined. They said, well, we don't want to show the house that late. Sorry. And I was showing 7 other houses, so I was like, okay, well, my buyers are going to be gone the rest of the weekend. I guess we're not going to get this house. Comes back on Sunday. Now they said, hey, we want to go see some houses. I was, okay, let's check. I sent a request. I got a text that said, hey, you want to see it, and we're going to take offers up until 6, and then we're done. I was like, well, I don't care, because I don't know if they're going to write or not. I mean, if they do want to write, we'll stop everything. We'll drop everything right now, and we'll go right. So I said, you know what? Hey, we're going on. If you don't want us to see the house, seller's agent, we won't go. But if you do, if you allow us to go see it, we'll appreciate it. So I did that. And while I was driving to the Baldwin house, here's what I wanted to talk about. While I was driving the Baldwin house, I got a text from the same agent, the Oakville house, and she said, did you really go 45 minutes before the showing? I said, no, I'm in Baldwin. I don't know what you're talking about. She said, well, somebody just walked in, or somebody just went in to see the house, and my seller was there. And so she had to leave. It was very uncomfortable. I said, I don't know anything about it. I'm in Baldwin. I'm 30 minutes away. I'm not there. She's like, did somebody go in the house without an appointment? And I'm like, yeah, probably. It happens all the time. I hate it. And I'll tell you, the only time that I ever did it, and this is I'm laying out my sins during the pandemic. Okay, they made it so you couldn't have overlapping showings on a house. So if I want to show a house at 10 o'clock on Friday, or let's just say 7 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday or in the evening, no one else could see that house at that time. And so what people were doing is they were blocking out hours of time. So they'd block out like from 7 to 8, from 8 to 9, to 9 to 10. So everyone would start blocking out properties, and pretty soon the house would go. They would call for highest and best on Sunday, and the whole time was blocked off. Every slot was blocked off. You couldn't go see the house. And at first, I'd say for like 2 or 3 days, I didn't catch on. But then as soon as I caught on, I was like, I'm going to these houses. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to sit here and not show houses to buyers. And so I went. I had no problem. I would schedule. I would go, and I would say, here it is. If it was booked, I would go. I didn't care. But then after that all calmed down, I said, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So it occurred to me early in my career, one of the first houses I listed, someone went in, and I thought really highly of that agent, and for them to not call or not text or anything and just go in the house, it was not good. And so from then on, I always had a super. That's why I have a super on every property, because I want to know exactly who went in. And you may say, well, you won't know if it's like somebody borrowed somebody's super. That's even worse. So always have a Supra. I don't mind, like, say if there's 3 agents at my showing, at one of my listings, and they all 3 don't go through the you're supposed to go through the Supra. I don't care. You guys set an appointment and there's 3 people there. Why should you all have to fumble with the lock? But going unannounced is just not cool. It makes people upset. So I said to the agent, I hate when that happens to me. Seriously. I was like, you have it on Super. You know who it was. I said, you should give them a stern talking to. And she's like, I will. And then when I went and looked at who it was, she's not going to give them a stern talking to. I know it 100%. So anyway, and I've seen that agent before out and about that went in unannounced. She is a piece of work. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, so went to that house, had one more house to go see. And that's something I wanted to talk to you as well. Okay. selling real estate is considered an art. Now you may think that's totally nuts. Okay. Having been in the business as long as I've been in the business, I feel like it is an art. I feel like the things I say, the things I do, the comments I make, the gestures I make, every single thing is related to buying or selling a house. I don't mean that is that I'm doing things specifically to engender a purchase or a sale of a home. What I'm saying is everything I do is magnified, and it does fit in with someone else buying a home or selling a home. And so I mean, like, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think as a buyer's agent, when I'm working for the buyer, I think that buyer deserves to buy property that is, like, what I would say, quote unquote, fair. Like a fair arm's length transaction. That means, like, I don't know the other agent necessarily that's selling the house. I don't know anything about the deal. I just know, like, based on everything that's sold in the neighborhood and everything we've looked at as a buyer, as the buyers, that this house that we make an offer on seems to be the right price at this time based on everything else. And I think that's very important. But what I think is important and what actually happens are two different things. And so this second house we went to, or this third house we went to, the current sellers had purchased the house in November of 2022. They had never moved in, and it's now active. They used a discount broker. They bought it for $290. Okay. They're now they have it on the market now. This is March. Never lived in it. They have it on the market for $318,000. So $290 to $318. They've never lived in the house. They've never had anything to do with it. Now, if I were what I would say an unscrupulous agent, I would not tell my buyers that information. If they were interested in the house, I would just say, hey, let's write an offer. In fact, let's write an offer for $320. Okay. But I'm not that person. I like to know everything I possibly can know about and transfer that to my buyers. Now, let's just assume that the commission, since they used a discount broker, let's assume that their commission is going to be about $15,000 on that house. Should my buyers pay $13,000? Should my buyers give the sellers $13,000 because they managed to hold a house for 4 months and did nothing with it? I don't think so. And so I said no. I said, here's what I saw. And they said no. They say, I understand. Why would we want to do that? And that's where I'm at. And that's how I know the market's broken. The housing market's totally broken. Now, I am in trouble on YouTube in the sense that I don't get the chance to, like, I don't do real well with writing headlines that are like doomist or, doom and gloom or like outright lies, name calling, none of that stuff. I'm just not that person. And so, like, to watch my show, you have to kind of know what's coming, and that's going to be pretty straightforward. I can't imagine. I mean, I know what they're thinking, but they should have cut that house straight to the commission. I'm sorry I bought this house. It was stupid. I'm out. Because in normal markets, that buyer that seller would have been punished like you would not believe. And so I'm not wishing for the seller to be punished. I'm not wishing for. I'm just telling you, this is why the market's broken. You can't just hold a house for 6 months, never do anything with it, or 5 months, never do anything with it, and then expect to get 13 grand. Like, how stupid is that? Now, this is me. This is my thought. There's probably 1,000 other agents out there. In St. Louis, there's probably 8,000 agents. There's 7,000 agents that'll just go ahead and say, oh, you should buy this house if you like it. Go ahead and give them the full price. Actually, give them more because they're probably going to get in a bidding war. I'm sorry, like my new screen, I have no place to put my drink, so it's way in the corner. I'll work on this. I'll get this together. I'm trying to get a picture right there. It's been how long? And by the way, yes, I'm playing with the lights. I've never been happy with the way the lights are set up. And I have good lights. I don't know what the problem is. I really don't. I'm sorry. I'm just confused. Some people say you should do like a different color in the background it'll really liven things up. So they're talking about doing like a teal and an orange in like two opposite corners. I might do that. The problem is I wouldn't, how do I put this? I have the Sigma 1.4 lens for my camera. It's supposed to be a good lens. I don't know. But, I don't know. What do you think? You tell me. You tell me about everything. I don't know. I'm trying. I could change the background a little bit. I don't know. There's things in here like was at my parents' house. And it has value to me because it's an old man fishing, and they bought it in Okinawa when my father was stationed in Vietnam. This is from Velika Kladuša in Bosnia. This is where my wife grew up and where her family still is, and it's important to me. And so I wanted those things in my scenes because it's important to me. What's next to that is those were candles that candle holders that my wife and I had at our wedding. So I saved one and I put it there. So, I mean, they have like sentimental value to me. But anyway, and I thought this would be the best way to do it. Let me know. Anyway, put it in the chat, put it in the comment section. Should I have just told my buyers to go ahead and buy a house for a $13,000 profit from the other sellers because they held onto a house and never lived in it? I don't think so. I think I'm right, but you tell me. Now, one last thing. I am streaming late tonight, and oh man, got a bug. Anyway, I'm streaming late tonight. I'm a little bit confused by daylight savings time. I've always been confused by it. I did a YouTube video on it a long time ago, and it got a lot of traction. Should we be permanently on daylight savings time? My understanding is we were going to be, and then now we're not. I don't know. But just the time change messes with me so bad. Now, for the next couple of days, I'll be confused. Some of the things I know that help is if you change all your clocks. Back in the day, you had to do it manually. Now most of them change on their own. My car isn't changed yet because I haven't been able to use my car, and my wife has the car, so I'd like to do that. But I'm still going fine. It's still going fine because it's the time change. So I don't know. I wonder if you're in the same position I'm in. Let me check my notes. That's about all I wanted to talk about as far as my deal today. I don't think the buyers are going to put any offers. Looked at 3 houses. We looked at 10 houses total, or 11 houses this week. And you go to a house and one house has got everything except for like the yard. And then you go to another house and it's got everything. It's got nothing, but it's got a nice yard. And then you go to another house and the systems are all old and it's like so much work. And by the time you put in all the work that you need to, the house is way too expensive. It's just or you go to a house and the house is gorgeous, but the basement, at least in St. Louis, like the basement is trashed. And so it leaks and they've spent all kinds of money to fix it and it still didn't fix it right. So now it's not a finished basement. All these things you just go and, my mom was like, oh, did you sell a house today? I was like, no, it doesn't work that way. I mean, like I might look at 100 or more. I've been with one client now for 4 years. I've seen it on Reddit, like people say, well, realtors have that priced into their model that they're going to be showing houses for a long time. And it's like, no, you win on some and you lose on others. It's not always profit. and show me something that is, to be honest with you. There's not a whole lot. So anyway, I don't think they'll write. I'm not upset about it. There wasn't anything that I saw that was all that interesting or compelling. Let's get into the tweets tonight. Most everything on financial Twitter has been dominated by the Silicon Valley Bank situation, and now another bank has gone under or been taken over by the feds. So let's just get to that. I don't have like an instant analysis of it because it's a little bit too complicated for me. I don't understand why. We'll just go through it. We'll talk about it. But anyway, let's get to it. So I need to hit the right buttons in order. Yeah, I don't have much at all tonight on the Twitter. I might not be on for an hour tonight. I might just, unless somebody comes on and chat with me, then I'll consider it. Let me do this. Mm-hmm. Just double check. Okay, here we go. Allie Wolf, here's your non-SVB posts. Fred in Columbus listed her home on Thursday, 40% above what she bought for in 2020. Accepted an offer Saturday for 1% above ask. Buyer said you have until 3 p.m. to accept. She said 2 other shoppers were considering an offer, but their realtor said they had no interest in going into a bidding war. Yeah. So let's see. If I was, I told you about that stupid house on Friday that someone had put an offer in before they'd even seen it, sight unseen, and the seller's agent accepted it, which is crazy. I don't think that's so great. 1% above ask, even at 40% over what they bought it for, and the buyer's making terms, normally not the best way to get a seller to accept. However, it just depends. Like it's kind of funny to me in this tweet. So friend in Columbus listed her home on Thursday for 40% above what she paid for in 2020. Now, did her friend do any work to the house? Did she make significant improvements? If she remodeled the kitchen, it was $25K. I mean, all right, in a bathroom, I can see it. I have no problem with that. But if she didn't do anything, 40% above what she bought it for, now you're looking at like, eh. So anyway, then accepted an offer for 1% above ask on Saturday. Kind of unusual. Kind of unusual to list it on Thursday too. But anyway, my buyers currently, none of my buyers are interested in a bidding war. They may go to asking, but they're not going to go above asking for any house. They'll just wait. Just don't care. I wouldn't say that I told them to do that. I mean, I think one of the most important things is the relationship between the buyer and the agent, or the seller and the agent. Like, you have to get to where you know this person well enough to know what they're going to do. I mean, if somebody says, I want a house, okay, I want this house. Well, to me, that means we're going over ask. You know, we're going no inspections. We're going closing time, whatever the seller wants. I mean, we're going after it hard. Other buyers are like, I want the house, but I only want to pay $10,000 below asking, and it's like, you know, that's a waste of my time. It's not going to happen in this market right now in St. Louis. Now, will it change? I don't know. Still, I would say still tight inventory. Affordability issues are just huge. It's a tough time to be a buyer's agent right now, because you're seeing things in other states where people are saying, you know, oh, it's terrible here. House prices have fallen, you know, massively, and like it hasn't happened here. Should at some point, right? Ryan Crownholm, the FDIC insurance limit has just been bumped from $250,000 to infinity. I wanted to talk about this. when you go to a bank, there's this little thing that says FDIC, and it says insured up to 250,000, I believe, or 100. I thought it was 150,000 when I was a kid. But what that meant to me is okay, well, I can't have more than 150 or 250,000 in the bank because if something happens to the bank, then I'm not going to get my money. Now, I knew this as like a 10-year-old. Okay, I didn't even know how I was going to get 100,000 to go in the bank, but I did know that they don't insure it over that number. And over the years, I've kind of thought, that's strange. Like, why, excuse me, why did they choose 150 or 250,000? Shouldn't all the deposits be insured? And I think that's a fair question. Shouldn't there have been some sort of private insurance or government insurance that said this deposit is insured, like no matter what the cost? And you say, well, John, you got to understand, the money that they have at the bank, okay, they take that and they lend it to others. So they don't really have that. That's just, it's not really there. But everything that the bank does is based on its level of deposits. And so to me, it never made any sense. Now, look, I want to yell and scream at big business and little business and politically connected business. Believe me, I do. And, we will. We'll go after them. But on this one particular case, I just don't like. I just never did like. It just never made any sense. Why would you be able to put money in a bank but it not be insured? The Fed has changed that right now. Here's something. The broke agent. Every agent should win an Academy Award for acting like they aren't losing their shit 24/7. How do I explain? My wife has to put up with me like when things aren't going well. I had a client this summer who was used to being in charge, was used to being the smartest person in the room, but had no understanding of real estate deals. And so they would put forth edicts and things that like wasn't going to happen. Like it's just going to kill the deal. And it was very odd because I was friends with the people and I liked them, but to watch the failure of them to do anything, it was crazy. Anyway, I never yelled at them. I got yelled at a couple times. It happens. I don't hold any grudges against people because I'm sorry. There's a bug. God, I didn't even get it, and I moved the monitor. Oh, so close. Got it. Like I've got everything dark in the room, so if there's any like mosquito or bug, they just instantly focus on the television screen or on the new monitor. It's been the third one I've gotten so far today. Now, that's kind of gross. I'm sorry. I'm not really proud of it, but that's what happened. Anyway, the question is, who do you lose your shit to? If your client's giving you guff, do you really go after your clients? No, that's probably not a good idea for long-term long-term health in the real estate business. If a selling agent is a total jerk, does it benefit you? I've listed properties and I've let buyers agents have it during this particular market. I'll tell you why. I was listing a house and there were 5 offers at like $50,000 over asking, and we took this person's offer. And then they were like, well, we had a roofer come over and they didn't seem to, they thought the roof might be. And they had put on a new roof like 4 years ago. It was an architectural shingle roof. I was like, do you want the house or not? And by the way, it wasn't the agent that called me to tell me. It was their assistant, and it was like the office assistant. Just know that I have no respect for office assistants in a real estate deal, okay? I'm running the show on my end. The other agent should be running the show on their end. I don't need this bullshit with somebody that's not involved in the deal telling me what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. And that's just not going to happen. And so I will lose it when that kind of stuff happens. And I'm not ashamed of it. I don't care what people think. Don't come at me with some assistant saying, well, the roof might be bad. We didn't pay a guy, but the guy, he does roofs for us all the time. Well, he does roofs for you all the time because you keep saying they're wrong. They're bad. What's his incentive to say it's a good roof? He's a roofer. It's so stupid. Moving on, Darth Powell writes, you made a bad financial decision, you take a loss. They make a bad financial decision and you take a loss. And look, that's the way life is, okay? This is the way life is. You and I, sitting on this stream tonight, we're not the people the government responds to, okay? They don't care about us. Couldn't give two anythings about us. The powerful and the well-connected have dominated our society for the past, at least since I've been alive. I mean, you've got Bill Gates running around talking about vaccines. He doesn't know anything. Nothing about vaccines. Nothing. Still, he has license to do so because he's a billionaire. We saw the damage that was done in 2007, 2008 to Main Street. We saw the damage that was done to the middle class during the pandemic. This is a constant theme in the United States. Political leaders are absolutely deaf to the concerns of a normal human being. I mean, if you just take the tax code alone, okay, 75% of the population doesn't understand the tax code. They have no idea. And yet, every single policy is written in the sense that, oh, here's a win for the little guy. It's never been designed for the little guy. And now what we're doing, which is even more egregious, is now we're restricting the middle class from getting into institutions where they could perhaps excel based on some sort of characteristics that have nothing to do with any sort of merit. This is a terrible, terrible, plan going forward, and it just keeps middle class people stuck. If that's what you want, that's fine, but that's not what I want. It's not the promise of America. My America and the America I live in are two different places, by far, and it's a shame that it's gotten that way. Last tweet, Lance Lambert. It'll be interesting to see what happens to mortgage rates tomorrow. Yes, this is right. Writes down here prediction. He says it's going to go down. I don't know. Looks like these are 30-year fixed. I'm sorry, 30-year fixed. I don't know because I don't know what it was before. I'm interested, but I also don't understand, like, if a bank can go out of business, doesn't that mean there's systemic risk? Especially since they were holding mortgage-backed securities. I mean, that seems like it should make it more expensive to hold a mortgage, like, as a bank. It seems like you should ask for more money to hold that mortgage, but I don't know. You can explain it to me. This is the last story we'll go over. I've often said, if you want to be rich, exploit the poor. Exploit the most downtrodden of the population. And that's true with other groups of people, underrepresented groups, they're called. Exploit them. If you want to be rich, exploit them. Exploit them, use them for your own personal gain, and you will be a millionaire. That's if you want to be rich and innocent. It's so perverse and so wrong, but yet that's the world we live in. I mean, like in Afton, in my own hometown, on every street corner now, there's either a church asking for money or a homeless person asking for money. It's not just a homeless person like, they look a little downtrodden. It's always somebody that's, got, they have more problems, basically. It shouldn't be that way. It's not acceptable in a functioning society that we have people just begging on the street corners everywhere. Okay, but that's what we have. Well, why do we have those people there? Well, we can always be reminded then of the homeless, and then we can take our tax revenues and our private charity and hand it to these people so that they can fix the homeless problem. In my lifetime, the homeless problem's gotten worse. Okay, with all the awareness and all that, it's gotten worse. More money's being spent on the homeless through my lifetime than ever before. Still have homeless, and it's worse. This is how you know this is it's just an absolute it's absolute exploitation. Let's continue. A New York City real estate brokerage owner pleaded guilty in federal court last week to paying kickbacks and bribes to Victor Rivera, the former head of one of the largest homeless shelter operators in the city. Isn't that amazing that the head of one of the largest homeless shelter operators in the city was being paid kickbacks and bribes to do his job? Shayna Levin, the owner of Urban Residences, pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit honest service wire fraud on Thursday. It says the prosecutors said Levin paid nearly, now look, this is what the prosecutor said. I don't know these people. I don't know anything about it. I'm just reading what has been written. So if you want to come back at me and say that it was he was rigged, I don't care. I don't care. Prosecutors said Levin paid nearly $690,000 to Rivera from May 19 to January 2021 to have the Bronx Parent Housing Network, helmed by Rivera, lease space from a building Urban Residences owned in the Bronx. Well, that's like a kickback, right? Like, hey man, would you lease a building from me? Yeah, sure. How much are you going to pay me? I'll pay you X. There you go, kickback. That wouldn't be wrong if it were two businesses, but one of them is like getting probably federal funds, at least state funds or city funds, and they're supposed to be helping the homeless. The arrangement gave Urban Residences a toehold in receiving at least some of the hundreds of millions of dollars designated each year to assist people experiencing homelessness. And if you ever want to know in our society how to find, where's the money going? Hundreds of millions of dollars being funneled to the homeless problem, and it's worse. The Bronx Parent Housing Network paid millions in rent to Urban Residences. Nice. So here, I'll pay you $4 million in rent. Okay. I want $1 million of it. All right. Seems like a good deal to me. This unscrupulous real estate company owner resorted to bribes and kickbacks to become the landlord of choice for a taxpayer-funded nonprofit that provides vital homeless shelter services. Okay. Rivera last year was sentenced to 2 years and 3 months in prison for taking kickbacks and bribes from his associates, including Levin, from 2013 to 2021. So for 8 years, if my math is correct, the head of a department is taking kickbacks and bribes, and that's fine. He gets how much did he get? 2 years and 3 months. Levin, who is Rivera's former business partner, allegedly paid the largest in a series of kickback to Rivera that netted him $1.2 million. Well, that's good. How did that show up on his tax return? I'm just curious. Maybe something for the IRS to look at. They won't, because these are politically connected people. However, as the nonprofit grew, the housing network received $274 million from the city to run shelters since 2017. Rivera began living large. He received a salary of more than $450,000, leased a luxury car through the housing network, and began doling out contracts to close associates, including Levin, as well as commingling nonprofit work with for-profit companies. Seems like a great guy. Rivera's legal troubles are a stunning fall from grace, who launched the Bronx Parent Housing Network in 2000 and overcame homelessness and addiction himself, according to the Times. Maybe that's all lies, too. Donald Trump, just so you know, Donald Trump, he released someone named Kwame Kilpatrick. He was the former mayor of Michigan, the first hip-hop mayor. I was in Detroit at the time. It was well known that if you wanted to tear down a house, you'd have to go through the city, and those contracts got put out by, Kwame's friends. This kickbacks, this stuff is not isolated to any one particular party. It's part of the corruption that is the United States now. Maybe it's always been that way, but it just seems more egregious now. 2 years for that, $450,000 a year. I mean, anyway. Well, look, I think we're gonna cut the show tonight. There's nobody in the chat. There's nobody putting in comments. Now, I'm not criticizing anyone for not doing that. It's, it's 10:30 on a Sunday night. I'm just saying, I'm ready to go for the night. I'm ready to check out and do some other things. So, if you did come by and watch for a while, thank you for watching. Enjoy the podcast version. I know a lot of you guys watched the day after, so let me know how it goes. And I should be around tomorrow at 9. It'll be an interesting day. We'll see what really happens with this bank bailout. That isn't a bailout, but they're all bailouts. They're always bailouts. And we'll go from there. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.